The Messerschmitt Me-262 was the world's first operational jet-powered fighter aircraft and represented a dramatic technological leap in aerial warfare during the Second World War. Developed in Germany by the company Messerschmitt AG, the Me-262 entered service in 1944 at a time when the air superiority of the Allies was becoming overwhelming. Its introduction marked the beginning of the jet age, fundamentally changing the future of military aviation. Powered by two Junkers UMO 004 axial-flow turbojet engines, it could reach a maximum speed of about 870 kilometers per hour, 540 miles per hour, making it significantly faster than any piston engine fighter of its time. This speed advantage allowed it to outrun Allied escorts and intercept heavy bombers with unprecedented effectiveness. The aircraft had a wingspan of approximately 12.6 meters, a length of 10.6 meters, and an operational range of around 1,050 kilometers, although range varied depending on mission profile and payload. Its service ceiling exceeded 11,000 meters, enabling it to operate effectively against high-altitude bomber formations. In terms of armament, the Me-262 was heavily equipped for bomber interception. The standard fighter version carried four 30mm Mk-108 cannons mounted in the nose, capable of destroying a heavy bomber such as the Boeing B-17 Flying Fortress with only a few hits. Some variants were also fitted with R-4M unguided air-to-air rockets, which increased lethality against tightly packed bomber formations by allowing pilots to fire from outside the effective defensive gun range of Allied bombers. The aircraft was also adapted into different roles, including the fighter-bomber version known as the Me-262A2A Sturmvogel, which could carry bombs for ground attack missions. However, Adolf Hitler initially insisted that the aircraft be used primarily as a fast bomber rather than a pure interceptor, a strategic decision that delayed its optimal deployment and limited its early impact. When compared with its main piston engine competitors, such as the North American P-51 Mustang and the Supermarine Spitfire, the Me-262 clearly outperformed them in raw speed and climb rate at high velocity. Allied pilots quickly learned that conventional dogfighting tactics were ineffective against it. The only realistic opportunity to shoot down an Me-262 was during takeoff or landing, when its engines were slowed to respond to throttle changes, and the aircraft was vulnerable due to its relatively sluggish acceleration and fragile turbojets. Despite its superiority in speed and firepower, the Me-262 suffered from significant drawbacks. The JUMO 004 engines had a short operational lifespan, often requiring replacement after as little as 25 hours of flight time, largely due to material shortages and rushed production. Germany's deteriorating industrial capacity, fuel shortages, and relentless Allied bombing campaigns severely limited the number of operational aircraft and trained pilots available. Operationally, the Me-262 was used primarily in defensive missions against Allied strategic bombing raids over Germany. Units such as Jagdgeschwader 7 employed the jet to intercept bomber streams, achieving notable success in the final months of the war. Although it claimed hundreds of aerial victories, its overall strategic impact was limited by its late introduction and the collapsing infrastructure of the Third Reich. In total, around 1,400 units were produced, but only a fraction saw combat. Nevertheless, the Me-262 demonstrated beyond doubt that jet propulsion was the future of air combat. Its design and operational experience influenced post-war aircraft development in both the United States and the Soviet Union, shaping early jet fighters in the emerging Cold War era. Even though it could not alter the outcome of the war, the Me-262 remains one of the most revolutionary aircraft ever built, symbolizing both the ingenuity and the desperation of late-war German aviation technology.